Welcome back to Behind the Book. Today's guest is Steve Beauchamp, and we're going to be speaking about value-driven employee engagement. Let's jump in. I'm Heather Andrews, and on Behind the Book, we journey beyond the cover. On each episode, I dive deep into the minds of authors, unlocking the mysteries behind their literary creations. Discover the stories behind the book exclusively here with me. Welcome to Behind the Book. We're continuing on with our episodes with Steve Beauchamp. Last time we spoke about creating organizational synergy, and today we're going to talk with Steve about value-driven employee engagement. That's always a mouthful. It just is. Welcome back, Steve.
Thanks again, Heather.
When we talk about employee engagement and really driving that, what does that mean for you as a leader?
Yeah, so I did speak a little bit about kind of this universal value system, goes across generations, and that's really what this was about. I started with that, and I wanted to try to hammer that home for people to understand that the values in each generation are very similar. They really come together about coalescing into performance, about yourself and your organization. And so value-driven is trying to create that within your organization, opportunities for people to see value in what they're doing every day for themselves and for the organization.
Yeah. Perfect. And it does away with, and does that value-driven employee engagement really take away from that I don't care culture?
You know, I want to say yes, of course. But it certainly comes down to how you do it.
Right.
So if you don't, you need to know what those values are, because one thing that is unique across organizations is that you actually have value systems within each organization that are different. Mm-hmm. Even though I say they're cross-generational, they're still going to be organizational, right? If you have an organization made up of accountants, do they have the same values as lawyers or whatever else? I don't know. But nonetheless, you have to make sure you have that pinpointed, that the values are assessed and understood.
I've always known that value points were a huge piece of what employer that you went to work for, because we all have values within ourselves. But it really seems to me through, this book as well as others, that value point system within yourself is becoming a more and more important point as you go out and look at corporations that you want to even go work for.
Yeah, I would completely agree. And with that, it's also becoming more and more abstract, right? So whenever everybody talks about values, they think, okay, more money, work-life balance, vacation package, etc. And that's really not what I'm talking about here, right? Those are great, and obviously they're going to help you make your choice.
Yeah, I think those are benefit packages.
Yeah, but everybody mistakes them for values, right? These are my values. I want to make more money. No. Everybody wants to come in and they want to perform, and they want to know that they're being seen. And understanding that you're going to be able to work within a culture where that can happen is massive, because it encourages self-growth. Mm-hmm. And that is probably one of the foundational values for everybody. I know it has been for me, and I'm very fervent about going after it, but for other people too that aren't as outspoken as I am, it's the same. They just need the opportunity to go after it, right?
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. When we spoke of your 3 synergies, and psychological safety being one of them, that is a fairly new term to organizational culture. And I think if people feel safe and they're given those opportunities to really voice where they want to go within the company, it actually does increase employee engagement.
100%. If you're sitting there thinking, is my idea a good idea to present? And then ultimately you're like, these people have way more experience than me, I'm just not going to speak up. That's an opportunity lost, not only for you, but for the organization. The whole concept of no ideas are bad ideas, it really comes through when you talk about value-driven employee engagement, because you can understand that everybody brings something to the table. It could be their diverse background that they're bringing an insight. Maybe they came from a different team, even within your organization, that they know needs to be considered in this, but they're not speaking up. So having that psychological safety encourages the ability to speak, which then allows them to be more engaged, right?
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. I remember one of your stories was about the young man who came to you and said, I have this idea. And you said, okay, do you want me to give you credit for it? He was like, no.
Yeah.
And I just laughed at that because everybody's got different ways that they want to be recognized for what they bring to the table.
Yeah, no, and that's a great point. Something I would love to highlight is that not everybody, even though they want to be seen, they want to be seen in their way.
Yeah.
Right? Being center of the limelight it's not everybody's ideal scenario.
Yeah.
Having to go to the executive group and present their idea, no, I don't want to do that, you know? And so that might be a reason they take a step back. But when you as a leader are there to support that and say, no, it's okay. I'm probably still going to put your name on it, but I'm willing to step up and bring this over there and show what can be done. It encourages them to speak up. I can think about how many times that you don't necessarily want to bring forward an idea because you're then going to be voluntold to do the idea. And that's not necessarily always the case if you have like a team that's willing to support each other. So that's another aspect of this.
Yeah, it's just such a big topic, culture and, you know, an employee happiness, and it is a thing, and people want to be happy.
Yeah.
And they want to go to work every day and just do their best and be their best and have that family life balance. And so I think that I love how this book, Culture Revolution, has brought some of these ideas to the table. What has been the biggest impact for you writing in this book?
I mean, one is just learning how to write, let's be honest. But two, I really think that speaking more towards that work-life balance, I highlighted right at the beginning, which is probably one of the last sections I wrote, that it's not about work-life balance necessarily for me, and I think for a lot of people. The concept is there, and whatever you want to term it, it's still correct in its own way, but I know when I have a good day at work, and I feel seen, I feel heard, I have the right culture, the right environment, I go home, I can bring that home.
Yeah.
And so organizations, they have an impact on you as a person and then who you can be at home. And so I think these changes you're making organizationally have such a broad influence on everybody's lives.
Yeah.
That it's an incredible thing to be speaking about and have the opportunity to write on.
So aside from learning how to write in your chapter, was there anything else that you'd wish that you'd known earlier before you started writing?
I really wish I'd understood how broad this topic would become for me.
Yeah.
Going through and coming in with this really pinpointed idea and then realizing as I wrote, oh, I want to include this. Oh, I want to include this. I think I really came to realize that all of these little features that I brought into my chapter can be so much more than what I was able to put in. And I'd love to be able to expand on that someday for sure.
Absolutely. And that's a very normal reaction to writing, especially in a chaptered collaboration book where you only have like 3,000 words to write. That's where people kind of go, I have a lot more to say than what I thought. Because a lot of times we get submissions and some of them were 7,000 words and we had to tailor that back. And I'm like, you just about almost wrote half of a book here. So.
And I'm anticipating the reader would come away with the same kind of concepts. They'll read this and they'll walk away and they'll start thinking and it'll just create a mind of its own, right?
Yeah. Well, it's thought-provoking.
Yeah.
And if you're in a space of not happy in your current environment, or even if you're running a business and you're not happy in your business, maybe you need to apply some of these things. And I can honestly say that I've worked globally, and from the deserts of Saudi Arabia, working in the hospital, to working in private sector healthcare, to then landing up with a publishing company for 9 years.
Yeah.
Corporate, that culture piece is so key. And it follows you, and in those values that are instilled in you, integrity and professionalism and caring about who you manage, those are all very, very key pieces. And so once you get a handle on what that means, that's why this book is so powerful in my mind, because it brings all aspects of it together. And so where can people reach out to you, Steve?
Yeah, so if they'd like to reach out, you can find me at steve@entidine.com, or you can find me at LinkedIn.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Make sure that you go and get Culture Revolution on Amazon. It is a great read. I'm not prejudiced. I'm telling you, it's a great read. The 13 co-authors in this book are industry experts, and they have walks of life and stories that you'll come back for more, and you'll want to reach out to guys like Steve. So thank you. Stay tuned for the next episode called Project Management and Teamwork. See you next time. As we close another chapter on Behind the Book, I want to extend our heartfelt gratitude to our wonderful authors for sharing their stories. I'm Heather Andrews, reminding you that the adventure doesn't end here. Keep turning those pages, and I will see you next time.